mean, I get a bit passionate about this, how not to onboard somebody.
Yeah. Are you? Do you have something to say about it?
It just frustrates me because I think I just see it happen time and time again when we take on new members of staff and they fail, basically, or they're deemed to fail. But there's been no strict onboarding of that member of staff, and even people that have been clients that have been in the industry for a long time. I think maybe we do it sometimes when we've been looking for someone for so long, we just want to get them in the door, you know, and they just they're good at what they do, and we're just like, okay, just go and do it. But I mean, it happens both with therapists and receptionists. I see it all the time, and then by the time they're coming to the end of the 3 months probationary, they're not ready. But I do think that as owners we need to take responsibility for that a lot of the time. Now, I'm not saying that it's everybody, because I've seen some fantastic onboarding as well, but you know, I think that we need to have a set and a good solid plan in place. I mean, there's lots of people that do training matrices.
Nice.
Got it out. You know, they do use those, but I think there needs to be so much more to that. And you know how passionate I am about reception as well. And for me, and I've always said it is the most important job in the business. And the busiest job, and the one you have to wear so many hats to. And when I used to take on a front of house, they used to have, and again, not everyone may agree with me, but this is how I did it. I used to have 2 weeks solid with them out of the business. And it wasn't always just me. It might have been the previous front of house, or whoever, whatever the situation was at the time. But it'd be 2 weeks solid out of the business, where I'd go through plan it down to a T, every single aspect of the business. And then when we got to a certain point, then it would start phone calls, analysing the phone call, having the phone redirected.
Nice.
Because I think when you're in the business and you'll suddenly get busy, of course whoever's training will get busy, or a client comes in, wants to talk to you, or whatever it may be, and it's very difficult to train. So it was 2 weeks like that, and then we step into the business and the training plan continued. And it just, I mean, not everyone will be able to do that, I know. Because for me, it's not planned or thought through properly. Because I think if you plan it, you can do it. And when you say you can't and you haven't got the time, that time will then be wasted further down the line, because that person won't be right. So you've wasted. Whereas if you use that 2 weeks and it's wrong, you know it in that 2 weeks. Whereas you can wait 3 months, where it's just like half an hour here, half an hour there. Honestly, I mean, I'm not saying that is the formula you should do, but
no, I love it, because it's like go on Amy, you know, look, all I'm hearing is procedures. What do you want in a business? How do you want to onboard? What do you want to make sure to onboard properly? And I feel like a lot, and it's been forever that sometimes we take on members of staff and we're setting them up for failure. And it's exactly that in terms of what you're saying, is that if you can say as a leader, I've done everything in my power for this person to be successful in their role, then they're going to thrive, and then I won't have to worry so much. So that 2 weeks that you say you're spending with the reception, that's going to be making them really strong. Then it's down to them.
With a continued work program.
Obviously.
And don't get me wrong, I've done that and it hasn't worked. You know, because and
personality
it is
transplant when they come into the business, like, this is not the person I interviewed.
I know, exactly. And or they just, you know, that role is, or whatever role it may be, just for whatever reason, it's just not for them.
But you've done everything that you could. I think it goes back to the budget. How long can you do this for, etc., and what can you do in order to grow that person and that staff member? But making sure that onboarding is actually really thought of, and they have the culture of the business kind of ingrained into them straight away from day one, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Otherwise they're just trying to figure things out for themselves.
Yeah.
And then 3 months down the line, it's not really what you want, but have you actually spent time with them? Have you actually done things for them to make sure they're completely fully aware of what you want?
Yeah, for me it's even at interview stage, you know, that I would be, I mean, maybe I was always a little bit hardcore. I don't know, because nowadays I think, God, I was quite hardcore. But then I always thought I was quite a soppy leader as well at times. But, you know, I think I was a bit of both. But definitely, you know, my expectations and the culture of the business I wanted to put across, because I didn't want them to waste their time and I didn't want to waste my time in them joining me thinking that, you know, this was going to be a walk in the park, or like they could just come in and do this. This is the way the business is run. These are my expectations. If you don't think that you can make, or it's not the right place for you, then now's the time to really think about it before we move on to the next stage.
But we're seeing that a lot as well with kind of new positions. So if you've never had a manager, suddenly you're taking on a manager, or if you've never had a receptionist, you're taking on a receptionist. You never had an apprentice, you're taking on an apprentice. And a lot of time when we talk to clients, to members, etc., is, but what do I do? What do I say? What do I want? You know, how do I make that happen?
And
but
that's hard.
It is very challenging because it's out of your skill set maybe, but it's a matter of, you kind of know what's needed in the business, isn't it? So you need to trust your guts as well of like, what is the role going to be like? What do you want it to be like? Because as an owner, you more than likely to have worked on every single aspect of the business. So you kind of know what's missing, you know what you want from that person. So if you don't set them up for that successful onboarding, like you said, I mean, we know leadership starts from recruitment, and we talk about that so much, that how can we make sure that from recruitment level to the onboarding process, to the success of that onboarding. I was talking to someone the other day, it's like, you know, probation is happening. Well, have you set up your halfway through probation meeting? Oh no, I haven't. But why? Because we want to make sure that they know where they need to grow. Maybe there's an element of their role that they're not doing. So look, for the next 6 weeks, I need you to focus on X, Y, and Z, and we'll monitor that to be able to be successful at probation. So you keep setting up expectations that will be met, but they're not in your head. They can't do that if you've not done a proper onboarding or...
No, and they need to know the plan as well. They need to know when they start that their probation meeting will be on this day, and you will be reviewing this and this. They can have it extended and so on. You know, it needs to, because I think sometimes you can walk into the beauty industry, and let's call it the beauty industry, but it could be
hair clinic,
whatever,
spas. And
that actually, you know, you're just, it's maybe seen as a softy approach sometimes. I still see it now. Not so much maybe with the more aesthetic clinics, because I think obviously there's a lot more in terms of
procedures.
Exactly, because there has to be. But definitely, you know, it's a bit kind of like, oh, you know, it's just we're therapists or whatever, and here we are kind of thing. And I hope that's coming across the right way, but I think that we just need to be nowadays that extra bit, well, I think we should be from previous years as well, but I think we definitely need to be very much more direct, and they need to know the standards and what we want from the minute how we need them to look, how they need to present, how they need to, you know, talk to clients, what you know,
is retail important in your business? Is the team culture, is what is that about, and how do you present yourself? You will attract the right people to you if you feel really realigned with your business, and you know from your expectations what you want, how you want things to be run. Otherwise, you're going to keep attracting people that's just going to, you know, I'm going to come and save the day as a manager. That's always my favourite one, no, you have to have your systems and procedures in place. So what you want now, they can bring something else to the table, and I can add to that. But if you're not saying that from day dot, then you're going to be led by someone who potentially could leave after 6 months, and you're left with systems that were put in place by the manager and it's actually not really what you want. So you've got to be really sure, isn't it, about how you want to do things. And the onboarding, why we're talking about that today is because it's such a topic where I'm desperate, I need to recruit, off you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We really enjoy sharing our thoughts on various topics. If you have a burning question, simply comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button to keep up to date with each new episode.